Hey friends, I want to get you started on how to create a couple more efficient buildings so that your factories don't end up looking like this. This is horrible. This is what happens when you have to cobble together things really quickly and you're not paying attention. So I don't want this to happen to you because you are going to have to make a lot of machines in the factories. So by the end of this, I'm going to condense all of these plant ones and all these refining ones into a couple very simple lineups that you can use that allow you to process multiple items simultaneously. So if you like that, I'm going to walk you through step by step. So first things first, a couple of prerequisites. You need to progress the story far enough that you've unlocked not only the entry part of the AIC, which is the factory system, but you want to ideally have a second factory. And the second factory opens pretty early in this valley area. And the reason you want this one is because you want to use this to be your power output. So you can see back here, I have a full row of thermal banks, and I can share this with you or teach you later. And it is at peak efficiency. I have as much coming in as I possibly can, and these never turn off. And this is what allows me up top to have that 1.2K power that you see there, which you do need for mission eventually. I am not necessarily using this for much else. I just happen to have this sitting right here because of a quest that they made me do. So you do want to have this. You are also going to need to get to the point that you have unlocked our good owl friend, the steward, because he will allow you to expand your area and he's going to allow you to do depot buses. And for this particular power bank to work, you need to have upgraded once and added the depots along the back. Pretty straightforward. It doesn't take much and it's pretty easy to get to be honest with you. So have this all done. The other thing is you want to unlock your basic AICs all the way through level 3. You do that through missions. It's pretty straightforward. And then by finding the wiggly arm guys after a certain mission appears, you will be able to fill in your tree, do all of your resourcing through power. It's pretty easy. It's pretty fast. You just go around the map. You click on these guys because you need all of your logistics items such as belt converging. So you do need to get all the way into your AIC 3. Those are the prerequisites that will allow you to do what I'm about to show you today. So let's talk about two very key machines that you're going to want to automate and make efficient very early on. That's going to be planting and that's going to be refining. Now there's other things like shredding, but you can duplicate what I do in refining for shredding. And this is why. If you look over here, I have the planters making seeds, making plants to feed things like making my bombs, going through shredding units. I am also making my consumables over here for my healing items, doing the same thing. What I'm not doing is being smart. These machines can be condensed to all come down into a single set of units. Same thing with refining. I have a refining unit there, I have a refining unit there, and I did have a third refining unit right here to be able to make these 3 different items, which are used in things like gear, things like, these fitting units, these bottles, things that you need, but they do not need to be 3 separate machines. So I am going to use all the tricks that we have here, and I'm going to teach you how. So first of all, I recommend getting some depot unloaders. You can do this straight over here at the automation core, but it gives you some more space if you pull this out to the side or do it over there. It's up to you. Also, understand that within your protocol management, you do have caps on how much you can store. So the other benefit you're going to have here by having 3 items come into a single machine is it's going to cut your rates down by 1/3. So you're producing things at 1/3 the speed, which sounds bad until you realize you're going to be capped out anyways. Ideally, what you'll end up doing, which I'll do later, not in this video, is then you'll feed the outputs from things like refining machines into multiple lines to feed multiple machines, such as creating gear, such as creating bombs, things that do need single inputs coming in. So here we go. Let's first teach you how to make a refining unit that is efficient and produces multiple items at once. So I want to do 4 in this one, believe it or not, because I need all 4 of these items to refine into something for crafting. So what I'll do is I like to go into caps lock, I'm on computer, and I like to do the top-down mode. It makes my life easier. And what I will need is down here in logistics, these 4 items honestly are the most important items in all of this crafting in my opinion. So first things first, I want to take all of these lines and I somehow need to bring them together. So what I can do is take a converger and I'm going to stick one right here. So I want to make sure that I'm using as little space as possible. So now by sticking it right up against the depot unloader, it will still pull items in. I can then take this line, pull it over, I can take a line for the amethyst, and now all three are going to cycle 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 into this unit. How do I get my buckwheat, or what the hell this thing is called, in there as well? So again, what I'm going to do is this time I'm going to take a splitter output, and the longer end goes in, and I'm going to make a couple lines for this one because I also am going to need it later. And now what I can do is split one over here, and I can take another converger and same thing. Now I'm going to spit it into that line. So that does have the rate of my amethyst, but trust me, you have so many items coming through this, and this still works when you're offline, that you're not going to run out of any items. You're fine. You're fine. So now I have 4 items coming into a single belt. Where do I want that to go? Well, I'm going to need that to go into production into a refining unit. Now I can just stick this right here. I can also pull this up a couple in case I want to run other lines into here later. So just for some future planning, I'm going to bring this up by 1 because I can put splitters, converters right up against it. And now I'm going to put 1 line in, and what's going to happen is these are going to cycle through. So for a moment, all I'm going to do is pull this line out so that you can see. And so now if you look, if I get my bear out of the way, oh, sorry, I actually need power. So you do need to power your units. So let's just stick a power item right here. The one basic thing I need to do. So now look, I have an alternating set of items coming through. And instead of being over here using 1, 2, and what was a third, it would have been a 4th if I made one for this specifically. Instead of that, I have all the items coming through a single refining unit. And keep in mind, I could have converged more belts and had more items going through. Your refining unit, if I go in here, has all of these different things. I can very well stick all of these different things into the refining unit. Matter of fact, the carbon I'm making, I could even loop back around to make stabilized carbon if I wanted to. You really can do a lot with this converging system. So now that you see them going out here, I really have a couple options. I can either go run them to the depot, but my depot is full. I can run them into, say, a storage unit. So let's just do that for the heck of it. So we'll need a protocol stash, and we'll just kick it there. And now these things are going to come into the protocol stash. I need to move my pylon. Oh, and through the magic of editing, I moved it closer because I was too far from the power. But now you can see I have those items going to a protocol stash. And the way the protocol stash works is it will simply send items to your depot automatically without running with belts, every so many seconds. Fair warning, this is all going to back up because I need to delete all this. So that's the first one. That is a very easy way. You can use this for different types of machines, shredders, etc. So the next one is I want to redo all of these planting machines and plant even more. So you can see I've preset 3 planters. So again, I'm going to go into my overhead view here. These are under production, and I first am going to want a seed picking unit. Why do I want a seed picking unit? Well, because I want to make this an infinite loop so that I never run out of product again. And the seed unit is going to need to go into a planting unit for, again, the same reason. I want it to be able to plant, and I'm just going to leave 1 space for visual reasons. This is going to come right in, and so the seeds that get picked here go into the planting unit. When you put a plant in a seed picking unit, it gives you 2 seeds for every 1 plant. So this is why you can create infinite loops. The other thing I'm going to want to do, and I'm going to do this before I start planting, is I want to only bring half of my product back into the seed picking unit. So I don't want to put all my plants back in. I want some of my plants to do other things. For example, they can be used in shredders. They can be used to make, pills and things like that. For the sake of this demonstration, I'm just going to stick them into the stash, but I want to show you how you would do that. So the first thing you got to think about is splitting out your plants. And this is where something like a control port can be useful. So first of all, I'm going to need to put some belts on here because it needs to understand that you want it. So I'm going to put a couple belts. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some control ports on here. And I want to control what items are leaving this because I want to split them potentially into different types of units. So this first one, I think what I want to do is have the buck flower. The second one, we can do the whatever. And the third one, we can do the, acatine. So here's 3 plants that I want to stick into this right now. And these are the same plants you can see that I'm growing down here. Now in the back, just like before, I'm going to want to put these on convergers. And because this here is split, I'm going to have one coming in here, and then one is going to come through here. So now all of these are going to come in. I can have these come into my picking unit. Now I don't want to yet because I want to finish this side over here. All right, so we know our inputs. We know where the start of our outputs. I know I want one line to kind of protocol stash and another to plant seeds again. So the first thing I'm going to want to do is start planning where these routes go. I'm going to need splitters, and I'm going to need to give myself enough space that these can kind of semi-overlap. So I'm going to put these kind of in a staggered approach, and then I'm going to run my lines into them. So again, I can butt them up right next to each other. Oops. So we'll put that one there, and we'll put that one there. Oop. And now I know they'll come out to these spots. I need lines to go a couple different directions. So I'm going to need to have everything come back this direction. So I'm going to put a converger, and I'm going to stick it right here. So this is going to take some from this, and then I'm going to put one over here. So now all of those are coming to the same place, and I can take this item line and I can bring it all the way back to my seed picking unit. So now all of these are going to converge into here. The next thing I need to do is, let's just move a couple lines over here. I need to start converging items to go into my protocol stash. So again, I need to run lines here. And then this one can link around there. I can put a converger down here, and you can make these a little bit more compact. I'm bringing them out just a little bit to kind of show you. And then for our final line, we need to hook these two together. So to do that, what we're going to use again is another splitter. It's going to sit at the end here, and we're going to snake that into a converger that is going to go right into these two. So now I've got all of this hooked up. What I can do now is actually hook this in. We're going to let the first couple plants come in. We don't need many. And then once these start producing, we can actually disconnect this line entirely, and this will start self-feeding. So if we watch these lines here, oops, actually I forgot to hook this line up. Let's bring this in just to do it. So now you can see, look, we've got buckwheat coming out. We get this coming to this line. And so we should start seeing all the different items coming through the different directions. So again, we've got the citron, buckwheat, let's see, acetine. We got buckwheat over here. We've got citron over here, and acetine coming in. So now we have successfully pushed one of each item back around to plant seeds, and one of each item back around into storage. Now this is going to break pretty soon because I'm going to fill up my storage really, really quickly because of all this inefficiency over here. But now you see how you can take all of these items and condense them into just a couple machines. Matter of fact, at this point, I can even get rid of this line. I don't even need this anymore. So these can all go away. This can go away, this can go away, this can go away. I'm gonna leave this here because I'm making stuff with it. But now I've got this endless loop of planting. I don't ever have to worry about these three plants ever again. They will never go away. Unfortunately, you can't endless loop your ores. You have to get those from those different ore spots, which is a whole different part of the system. Very easy to manage. But again, with very few buildings and resources, I have made a much more efficient approach to both farming and processing. Again, I could use this as a shredder as well, so I can do multiple different processes here. And I can even condense these to be closer together so that I'm not having all this belt space. I simply did the belt space because I wanted you to have a little bit of a visual of how things are moving across so that you can see that the product is actually working. But this can be moved all the way back here. This can be moved all the way up here. You could feed this directly into your building if you wanted to. So there are ways to make these even more efficient, or at least more condensed than they already are. So I hope that those couple of little demonstrations, A, give you a couple early buildings that you can put on your own, and B, get your brain flowing a little bit on how you can use these logistical buildings to combine several different building types and processes into much more efficient workflows. If you made it this far, a like and a sub would be tremendous. And consider being a member. It's only $3 a month, but it helps me out more than you might know. And until our next video, our next live stream, my friends, please Take care of yourselves.